Hello friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Danny and today I will be doing a book unhaul. If you've been around for a minute, you know I don't do these very often. I think I've ever only done one on my channel and it was over a year ago. And I think that the fact that I need to do one again is a little bit of a testament of how my buying practices have changed just a smidge. I have been taking more risks in buying books that I haven't read yet, in which, if I don't like them, it ends up making me want to not save room for them on my shelves. And so I do have 7 books on my physical TBR, or not my physical TBR, but my physical shelves that I will be removing today. And all of these are ones that I have read or DNF'd. And then I have 3 just books that I had on my mental TBR that I want to read that I think I'm going to be letting go of. Let's start there and talk about the books that I haven't read yet, but I don't think I'm interested anymore. One of them is going to clear a series for me, and this is Shadow Baron. The first book in the series is called The Notorious Sorcerer. And it's been a while since I read the first book, and I remember kind of being a little apathetic at the end of the first book, thinking, I could continue, I could not continue. It's an interesting world. I do think the magic is interesting, but I just don't care, I guess, about where the story goes, and that's kind of a bad sign. I have so many other series that I would rather continue, so I think this one is just going to be a goodbye from me. If you have read the series and you think the second book is better than the first in world development and character development especially, let me know, because I could probably be convinced, but at this point I think I'm just tired of avoiding this title, because that's what I've been doing so far. Next is a book that I don't know a lot about, but as I was looking through my Goodreads want to read list, I got to Lost Man's Lane. And this is a thriller. I think I added this to, actually I could probably go and look, but I can't remember if I've already deleted this from that TBR or not. I could probably go and look at when I added this to my TBR. When I first started BookTube, I did read some thrillers, but I have since learned that it's just not really for me. Even when they are mixed in with a sci-fi mystery like The Deep Sky, it tends to impact me in a negative way. And so I think that unless someone who knows my reading taste has read it and is going to recommend it to me thinking that I would enjoy it, I think I'm just gonna let this one pass me by as well. I don't remember adding this to my TBR because I know it's been a minute, so there's nothing really holding me back from letting this one go. And the last one, I can say I'm slightly hesitant, but I think I've just burned myself out with King Arthur retellings or spinoffs and things like that. I used to really love that type of thing, and I think that there is potential for, in the future when I give myself a little bit of a break, that I might be interested again. But I've had this title on my TBR for a while. I've borrowed it from the library several times and I just am never interested to pick it up. And that's called The Bright Sword. It has pretty good ratings on Goodreads, and I think it had 21,000 people or something that had read it. It's also an author that I would like to give it a chance, but it's I know it's about Camelot, and a knight is going to Camelot and ends up coming a little too late. The war has already happened. All of the Knights of the Round Table, or most of the Knights of the Round Table, are dead. And I think they have to kind of pick up their sword and become one of those legendary figures, even though they're not prepared, I think is kind of how the story is. I could be completely wrong because it's been a minute since I've read the synopsis, but I just don't know that I'm interested in King Arthur retellings anymore. I used to love them and gravitate towards them, and I think that time has passed for me, at least for the time being. So now that we've gotten the ones that I haven't read out of the way, hopefully those were painless for you to hear that I am unhauling them. Now let's get to the ones that are actually on my physical shelves, and all of these are books that I have either read or DNF'd. The first one, this pains me because this is a beautiful copy. It is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, I believe, and that is Danni.Dabbles. This was our most recent buddy read over at Not Reading for Content, the podcast that I have with Leander the TBR Zero, and it just didn't work out for me. I love Abercrombie's writing. I really enjoyed the First Law trilogy, and I do plan on continuing in that world, but I think that's where I need to stay because this is just not for me. There is a lot of well, you can hear all of my thoughts on the podcast if you really want me to dive deep. There's a lot of humor in this. Some of it that I love, some of it that I don't love. But really, I was disappointed in the story and the characters. I felt like there was a lot of repetition in this. And at one point during the podcast, I even said I wouldn't care if all of these characters died in the next page. Like, it wouldn't impact me at all. And that says something for me about a series. I don't plan to make myself or force myself to read the next chunky book in this edition. I would rather just read something else by Abercrombie. Next, I have an impulse buy, and I was so excited to tell you guys about it as soon as I purchased it because it was a book I'd never heard of before, and that's Isabella Nag and the Pot of Basil. I love this cover, and it definitely pulled me in as I saw this in the bookstore and just decided that surely I'm gonna love it. It has a one-eyed cat in it. It has some, type of basil plant that also is involved, which typically if you have kind of an animal companion / plant companion, I've enjoyed that in the past. And so I thought that this was going to be a win for me. And the tone of this book is just so negative, and I really didn't understand the point behind everything that happens at the end. It was a little frustrating for me. There were some really cool things and cool aspects about this story. Throughout the book, you have these little excerpts about some folklore, which I thought were very fun. And some of the story, especially the cat character and what he is, are interesting, but there's just not enough for me to cling to keep this on my shelves because I'm never going to revisit the story. I'm not going to recommend it, so there's really no reason for me to keep this. The next two books are a little painful for me, and I'm sure that some of you are going to be a little heartbroken that I'm getting rid of these, but I just don't see myself ever rereading these. They're both, they take up space on my shelves. I'm not continuing with the series, and so I'm not going to continue to collect these. I just don't want to look at them anymore. And that's Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. Iron Flame is really the reason I'm not continuing with the series because I really did not enjoy the ending of this book. I didn't enjoy the book in general. I thought it was quite a slog and some of the pages were unnecessary. The relationship between Violet and Xaden, I'm just not enamored with, and I am done with the series. I am a little sad because especially with the Fourth Wing edition, I bought this on the first run of the, original sprayed edges that I think Amazon, is where I bought this from. And I did it without reading this book first. I just saw the pretty sprayed edges and I was like, oh, well, and it was on sale too because I got it before it became really popular. So I'm a little sad because it is kind of a historical point in time, right before this book blew up. I purchased it for my shelves, and I did enjoy the story. I don't think that this was the best book I've ever read by any means. I know a lot of people absolutely love it. I thought it was a fun time, is essentially what my thoughts were. And so I am a little sad to get rid of this one just because it is, I think it might be the first run. I'm pretty sure because I bought it pretty early on. Yeah, this is the first edition run of Fourth Wing. So that's a little sad. I might end up selling these as a pair because both of these are first editions, but yeah, they're just not for me. And as I said, I need space on my shelves. And so there's no reason for me to keep books around just because of the fact that I bought them at a historical moment in time. I mean, I guess I could, but yeah, these are the ones I think I'm probably most hesitant about getting rid of, but really it's not because of the story, it's because of when I purchased them. So that's okay. They can go to a home that will appreciate them more than I do. Next, I have a book that you guys will probably be surprised was on my shelves to begin with, and that's The Wager. This is a nonfiction book surrounding a pirate ship story, kind of a historical moment. And I was enamored by someone talking about this book, about how it reads like a fictional story. I like I like ship stories in general. And like I think I read this right after reading Amina Al-Sarafi, which is totally not the same thing. But I went through like several books in a row that were pirate stories or seafaring stories that I was enjoying. And so I think that's one of the things that kind of pushed me over the edge when I saw this. And it was fine. I did read this. I don't see myself ever rereading it. I don't feel like it was memorable to me. And I know that there are people out there who would absolutely love to have, a pretty nice edition. It has like maps and stuff in the inside front cover as well of this story. And so I'm gonna pass this on to someone else who maybe will reread a nonfiction, because right now it's literally just been like at the back of my bookshelf hiding away because it's not something I ever think about. The next book was an author pickup. I absolutely loved Kaikai by Vaishnavi Patel, and I still want to own that book. And I haven't been able to find it in bookstores, but I did find Goddess of the River by Vaishnavi Patel. And this one's just not for me. This is a story of motherhood. There's some things going on in this story that I just really didn't like to read about. I did end up DNFing this book because I really didn't care about what happened to the mother and son that we're following in this story. I could see there being two pathways, one of sorrow essentially and despair, and then one, with a happy reunion. And I don't know which Vaishnavi Patel chose. I am just going to assume that it's a happy ending and not get to the actual end to figure out whether or not it is, because there's so much within the first, I can't even remember where I stopped in this because I got a little bit in. My guess would be 30%, but there's so much despair that this woman, this mother, goes through in the first little bit of the story that I read. I lost interest. It kind of put me off. And you guys know this if you've been following me for a while, I like a book that has some light in the story. I don't mind there being desperate moments and heartache. Those are what, sometimes make you feel and have empathy for characters. And so I think those things have their place, but I also feel like there has to be some type of light and grounding that can pull me out of that. Otherwise, I just feel like I'm reading real world news, and that's not what I want to do when I read for escapism. And so, yeah, I really, really love this author. I just don't think that this particular story was meant for me. The last book on this list is actually one that I have kept on my shelves, and it's still being debated upon because I am currently reading it. I'm at 75% of the way in, and I can't imagine that the book could be saved in the last 25% of the story, but we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and put it on this list though, because I'm assuming that it's going to be leaving my collection, and that is The Society of Unknowable Objects. This is very sad because this was a pre-order for me. I was really excited about this new book by Gareth Brown, which is an author that I've loved in the past with The Book of Doors. This is a fantasy mystery, and I think that this book for me is hurt by the bad guy being on page too often and us being in his head too much, because I really hate him, and I don't care to know his perspective or understand why he thinks the way that he does. And there's another person, another bad guy. I am really curious and interested in the magical items within the book, and our main character, Magda, I think that she's okay. Like she could be a fun character to follow. But I think that there have been a couple of moments where I've been promised a thing, especially in the prologue. You're kind of promised a thing at the very end of the prologue, and it doesn't quite pan out the way that I expected or wanted it to, which is creative, but not in a way that I've enjoyed. So I think that this one will be leaving my collection, unfortunately. So hopefully someone else out there who doesn't mind the things that I haven't enjoyed about this story will enjoy more than me. So those are 10 books that I am unhauling from either my physical collection or from my mental TBR. Let me know if you think any of these books, other than the ones that I've already read, because I'm probably not going to keep those, but if you have any opinions about the books that were on my want to read list that I'm getting rid of, please let me know. If you have any books that you've had on your shelves that you're just ready to get rid of, I'd like to know that too, to see kind of what your process is for unhauling. I've definitely had to navigate this new area of my life because it's not something that I've had to do in the past. So think about the criteria for which books I want to keep on my shelves and which ones I'm willing to say goodbye to. So I'd be interested to know your thoughts on that as well. If you are not feeling chatty, but you still want to let me know that you are here, leave me a chess piece in the description so I know that you guys are with me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a lovely evening, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.